FAO is proud to present Mr. Anil Baral.
Good afternoon. This study that I'm going to present is coordinated by the European Climate Foundation. The research was carried out by the International Council on Clean Transportation and NNFCC. To give a background on this research work, there has been growing interest in advanced biofuels to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from transportation in the European Union. A part of the reason is that uh, there is a growing threat of climate change, and also there is a need to reduce dependence on foreign crude oil. The Renewable Energy Directive, which is a major policy driving biofuels in EU, requires 10% of renewable energy in transport by 2020, and it is expected that some part of that biofuel would come from uh, sustainably sourced forest biomass, mainly slash, and that forest slash can be used for biofuel and biopower production. There are two types of forest residues. One is forest slash and the other is stumps. A forest slash refer to leftover from logging operations, well carbon loss. Stumps, on the other hand, are not considered in this study because its removal requires mechanical removal, and that leads to soil disturbance and soil carbon loss. And also there is a concern for biodiversity loss. It has been estimated that somewhere between 40 to 80 uh, there are two main objectives of this study. One is to estimate climate change mitigation potential of advanced biofuels derived from forest slash. We have considered two pathways, biochemical pathways. The other main objective is to quantify economic benefits of using forest slash for biofuel production. As mentioned before, we have considered three biofuel production pathways. They are FT synthesis, pyrolysis, and biochemical ethanol productions. In FT synthesis, we start with gasification and followed by uh, syngas production, and which is eventually converted to gasoline and diesel. In pyrolysis, we start with the fast pyrolysis to produce biofuel, and which is hydroprocessed to produce gasoline and diesel. In biochemical pathway, we start with pretreatment of biomass, followed by enzymatic hydrolysis and fermentation to produce ethanol. Um, to estimate greenhouse gas reduction potential of advanced biofuels derived from forest slash, we used well-to-wheel life cycle assessment. We used the UK biofuels carbon calculator as a framework because this complies with the rate methodology for estimating greenhouse gas emissions. We consider 20-year time horizon, which is also considered with the rate methodology. For data sources, we obtain data from variety of sources, including grid model, literature review, UK biofuels carbon calculator, and Files database. Files database provides rich set of data on nutrient content and chemical compositions, which were used to estimate nutrient replacement requirements as well as biofuel yields. Uh, in terms of economic analysis, data came from a variety of sources. For example, for job creation in the forest sector, we obtained data on labor input from industry reviews. a feedstock cost, which represent a direct cost in of nutrients, which are compensated by using fertilizers. We obtain those data from available information, supplemented with information from industry representatives. Data and cost of collection and transport, we obtain that from forestry reviews. And finally, to calculate the net present value and internal rate of returns, we use a discounted cash flow model. In terms of carbon mitigation benefits, we found that using well to full life cycle assessment, somewhere between 54 to 61% of GHG reduction could be achieved when you use advanced biofuels. Um, this translates into somewhere between 6 to 13 million tons of CO2 reduction from the transport sector. Uh, in terms of economic benefits, this table presents total production potential for two pathways, biochemical ethanol pathways and thermochemical ethanol pathways, and how many employments are generated in supply chain and in biorefineries, and how many temporary employment is created in construction of biorefineries, and how many plants are required to produce the potential amount of biofuel. So we can see that the benefits and the number of jobs created here are quite substantial. Like for example, in employment in supply chains, it, the number of employment, full-time employment generated are in thousands, ranging from 14,000 to 83,000. In overall, a net value of somewhere between 0.7 to 2.3 billion euro would flow to the European Union's rural forestry economy if you use a forest slash for biofuel production. And here we present what additional incentives are required if the feedstock price is really high, and if the required internal rate of return is also very high. For example, at feedstock price of 40 euro per ton, at internal rate of return of 10% to 15%, we don't need any incentives to make that biorefinery projects profitable. But if the delivered feedstock price increases, say, go above 60, then at any internal rate of returns, 10%, 50%, 20%, we need additional incentives uh, for biorefineries to make them profitable. So to finally conclude, we have shown that forest slash can provide significant economic and climate change mitigation benefits. And for this reason, policy support for advanced biofuels is highly desirable, and there is ongoing discussion in EU how to provide this kind of policy support to create policy certainty and also create conducive business environment for investment. One of the interesting future research in this area could be comparing cost and benefits of forest residues for power generation versus biofuel production, so that we can have insight into how to prioritize the available forest residue and develop appropriate policy. This concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions or uh, any explanation you want to ask,